Okay, beginning with subpoint 1 of the 1NC, the 1NC, the negative attempts to say that shall issue is a bad policy for states, but experts agree that murder and robbery rates are significantly lower in shall issue states. James Q. Wilson, PhD, professor of political science at Boston College, wrote an article called Guns and Bush. John Lott's work convinces me that the decrease in murder and robbery in states with shall issue laws, even after controlling statistically for every other cause of crime reduction, is real and significant. Of the many scholars who were given Lott's data and who did their own analyses, most agree with this conclusion. States that pass these laws experience sharp drops in murder, rape, robbery, and assault, even after allowing for the effects of poverty, unemployment, police arrest rates, and the like. So the argument that we're trying to make is that having a concealed weapon on you is an effective way for you to prevent a crime that's in progress. Again, the 1NC tries to say that it's not a significant problem that the police aren't there to protect individuals, that police only respond to crimes after they've been committed, or they attempt to prevent a crime that's in progress if they're so lucky as to happen upon it as it's happening. But we're saying that people have the right to defend themselves. And yeah, so we're saying that people have the right to defend themselves and their persons, and occasionally having a concealed weapon on you is the only effective way of doing that. The 1NC also attempts to say that criminals will continue to be criminals even if concealed carry licenses are issued in California. Sorry, moving on, I'll address that later. One of the points that the 1NC attempts to make is that having the sheriff be in charge of who gets to get a concealed carry permit is a good policy because they're qualified to make that decision. However, I have evidence that says California can continue to exercise discretion when issuing concealed carry permits, even if it is a shall issue state. The United States Government Accountability Office is the audit, evaluation, and investigative arm of the United States Congress, wrote in a report entitled Gun Control, States, Laws, and Requirements for Concealed Carry Permits Vary Across the Nation, June 1st, 2012, December 1st, 2012. While 10 may-issue states have broad discretion in making permit decisions, authority in 16 shall-issue states have limited discretion in making permit decisions if no statutory reason for denial exists. In Virginia, a shall-issue state, for example, issuing authority stated that they can deny individuals whom the court finds are unlikely to use a weapon unlawfully or negligently to endanger others based on a preponderance of evidence. Similarly, in Georgia, a shall-issue state, issuing authorities noted that applicants are subject to denial if the issuing authority determines, among other things, that the applicant is not of good moral character. However, both Virginia and Georgia officials told us that they have discretion to deny a permit based on the factors mentioned above. It is rarely utilized. So the fact of the matter remains that jurisdictions can still make a conscious decision not to issue a concealed carry permit to somebody who they think is unqualified to carry a concealed handgun. We think that California is too stringent in its policies because one of its clauses in the requirements for obtaining a concealed carry permit is good cause, which is something that's arbitrary. It's been decided by the Attorney General to mean that a person has to prove that a threat exists before they apply for a concealed carry permit, which we think defeats the purpose of concealed carry permits. If you know that a threat already exists beforehand, then you're one of the rare few people who know that something is bad is going to happen to you before it actually occurs. We want deterrence. We want people to have a concealed handgun on them for those rare occasions when something bad happens and you don't expect it. Okay, the 1NC also attempts to say that accidents will still happen. However, I have evidence here that says citizens who are licensed to carry firearms do not have significant rates of accidents. Robert Cottrell, J.D., Ph.D., professor of law and history at George Washington University, wrote in American Enterprise 9/1/1999, 12/3/2012. In recent years, the majority of states have passed laws permitting honest citizens to carry concealed weapons, and the results tell us much about self-defense and the responsibility of the average citizen. Once it was passionately argued that such laws would turn minor altercations into bloody shootouts, now we know better. Over 1 million Americans have licenses to carry firearms, but firearm misuse by this group has been utterly negligible. Criminologists now debate not how much harm has been caused by concealed carry laws, but how much good. So the point that we're trying to make is that there are certain states that have concealed carry weapon permits that have very strict laws regarding training before you can actually receive a concealed carry permit. For example, Tennessee requires you to do a live fire exercise with an actual instructor. It requires certain hours in the classroom for training, and they also in their test, the written test that you need to score at least 70% on to get a concealed carry weapon, they cover topics like nonviolent conflict abuse, because the point is that it's a last resort for situations where you might otherwise be killed or significantly harmed. And we can train people to be effective in using handguns and not cause significant collateral damage. And that's the end of the procrastination.
All right, so you're suggesting that the state is still, even though we're going to have a shall or a may carry state, we can still force them to have gun training, right?
Yes.
Okay. And the police, if they have a reason, can still deny that permit, correct?
Yes.
All right. So at the end of the day, once your affirmative is passed, how many more people in California are going to apply for these permits that are being denied them right now?
I don't have that data.
So it could be that even after the affirmative, that number one, nobody applies for these permits, and number two, the police could still deny them all, right? Because the people don't meet the criteria that you just laid out that all these strict states have.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible that no new guns will be out there even though the affirmative passes.
That's possible.
Okay. But do we know whether or not there's a need in the status quo? Are there people going up to the sheriff and saying, I'd like to carry a concealed weapon, and the Orange County Sheriff is a woman. Did she say no? How many people out there are being turned down?
I actually have evidence, but I can't read it in cross.
Well, could you just tell me what your knowledge is of how many people in California or in Orange County are turned down the right to have a gun when they wanted one?
I don't know in terms of numbers. I just know that California lags significantly behind. Some of the other states issue about 5 to 10% concealed carry permits based on the population, and California has something like 0.1%.
Isn't it possible that there's just a lot of us here that don't want to have a gun? That doesn't say that we applied for it and were turned down. It just says that a small percentage of us want to do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we don't really know if anybody out there is being denied this gun that you want them to have right now, right?
No.
Okay. Thanks.